Hey, good morning. Well, you know craft beer is growing here in San Diego. Coming up, we're going to tell you a place where you can get it gluten-free. That's all coming up on Fox 5.
Heather Lake live in Miramar this morning.
She's getting her hands on a new style of tasty craft beer. Hello, Heather.
Hey, good morning. Yeah, you know, it's always good to talk about beer at 6 o'clock in the morning. Just wake people up at a new brewery in San Diego. And we know craft beer in San Diego is like wine in Napa at this point, right? And I've been to a lot of craft breweries. This one's pretty cool and by far the cleanest. I let you guys know that, right? So I got Brett and Matt with me, the guys who are the brains behind this operation. Good morning. Good morning. I love waking up brewers and beer people at like 5 a.m. You guys awake? Are you here? Is it better than coffee? I love it. So this place is called Duckfoot Brewing. You're one of the only craft breweries in San Diego that's making gluten-free beer, and I want to know how you guys started this place.
Well, we're longtime home brewers. We've been at this project for 2 years, and it's just a passion. You know, we love beer. It's just, you know, it's a wonderful liquid, and we're just really passionate about the craft. As you know, San Diego is a big craft beer community, and we've kind of latched onto that and just love what we're doing so far. Yeah,
it's like you can't be a skinny baker, right? You got to love beer if you're going to be a brewer. That's how it works. Exactly. Now, the name is Duckfoot. I want to know a little bit about where the name came from, because I kind of was looking at it, I'm like, Duckfoot, like, what does that mean?
Yeah, it's actually got nothing to do with ducks. I'm a snowboarder, grew up snowboarding, and when we were naming the brewery, I wanted to name it after something other than the geography we lived in. So it had mass appeal, and I think there are a lot of snowboarders out there that like craft beer. So,
what does it mean though, Duckfoot with snowboarding?
Duckfoot is the stance on my snowboard. My bindings are set up in a Duckfoot stance, so you can actually ride regular foot, goofy foot in a Duckfoot stance.
Very, very cool. I want to take a look behind you because you guys are working on some pretty cool beers. Maybe summer style. Anything interesting you guys are working on right now?
Yeah, we have a couple of really interesting summer styles. We've got a Saison that we introduced, California Wild Raspberry, and we also have a honey ale that we've brewed that has about 110 pounds of local honey.
Whoa, 110 pounds of honey. That's awesome. Okay, guys, so one thing I want to mention to everyone, it is Celiac Disease Awareness Month, in case you didn't know it, in May. Let's walk and talk and get over to the bar, right? That's where we need to be this morning. So take a look at this. Basically, I want to explain to people how you make gluten-free beer, because the main ingredient and why people love beer is because of what it's made out of, and it's the barley, it's the wheat. That's what this is right here, right?
Yeah, and that's the really special thing about our process. So we start with traditional ingredients. So this is our barley right here, and we have some other different malts in this glass, and this contains gluten. So what we do is we make the beer in the straightforward manner, but then we have this enzyme, and this is what it looks like. It's a natural enzyme, and after we are done with the first part of the process, once the unfermented beer gets into the fermenter, we add this enzyme, and this enzyme actually breaks down the gluten protein chain so that people can actually drink it. People with celiac disease like myself who have an autoimmune issue can drink this beer, and that enzyme works its magic, breaks the protein down so that we can actually digest it.
I was going to say, what a sad thing for a guy like yourself who likes craft beer to find out that you have celiac disease, because you're like, what?
Yeah, it was a life-changing thing for me, and so once I found this enzyme and learned the process, it was game on. I mean, we're back in business, so yeah.
I love the story. Now I know, Shelly Rowell, I think you guys have some questions for us. Do you? Back in the studio?
Yeah, what's the deal with these guys? Are these business guys? Are they chemistry guys? How did they figure out how to do all this? It seems not as easy as you may think.
No, absolutely not. They want to know your backgrounds a little bit. Are you chemists, or did you just kind of start working along with this stuff in your garage and decide to go big time?
Yeah, that's really it. Just home brewing, it starts in the garage, and people have been able to produce, beer that rivals the commercial brewers in their garages, and they've really, as I said before, they really have a passion for it and are able to really produce some amazing stuff. So that's what it was for us, just a garage thing.
And for you snowboarded and then decided, I really like beer, and now I've got to make it gluten-free.
Yes, snowboarding and wearing a suit for 11 years, and I was like, how do I get out of this? And then, let me throw it all on the line and start this business. So yeah, it's our passion, and we love it, and we hope everybody, comes down and enjoys this. So.
Yeah, we're going to meet up with these guys in a couple hours too, but I want you to show you the bar because this is really cool.
Yeah,
They've got, the setup is really neat,
cool.
and the way that the bar is set up is really cool. The
place,
lights and the decor are pretty neat.
Okay, Fox 5 lunch after the show at Duckfoot.
It's right down the street.
Heather Lake, thank you. Appreciate it.
Hey, good morning. Well, ditch those donuts and those bagels. Coming up, if you're going gluten-free, we've got a lot of alternatives for you and some places where you can stop on your way to work right here in San Diego. That's all coming up on the Fox 5 Morning News.
Time now to check in with Heather Lake, live in Miramar this morning.
Okay, so Heather's showing off some great food alternatives for Celiac Disease Awareness Month. Heather, good morning.
Hey, good morning. Yeah, I might have been snacking just a little bit before this segment. This stuff is super yummy. So we started out with the last hour showing you gluten-free beer. Now we're showing you gluten-free goodies. Basically, if you have celiac disease and you struggle with gluten intolerances, or maybe you just want to try a new diet or way of life, you can go to this place called 2Good2B Bakery, and you don't have to worry about any of the gluten. You know, when you go to the office and you've got to grab some donuts or bagels or things like that, well, it all has gluten. All of the stuff that you see in front of you, and yes, I've been trying it, and I can tell you it is very, very yummy, and none of it has gluten in it. So Rodney is the chef here at 2Good2B Bakery, which is actually in Encinitas, and this place is so yummy. I want to talk a little bit about how this all came about, though. I feel like the owner probably has something to do with it. She has a lot of allergies, so can you tell us just a little bit about the bakery?
Sure. Diana Benedict is the owner and operator of 2Good2B, and I'm the executive chef and general manager there. So Diana is she's hyperallergic to gluten, corn, and soy, and she wanted to figure out a way how to feed people and have them come into a safe environment without any, allergies being affected. So we don't use any peanut. We don't use any items with gluten. So we don't even use edamame products, nothing like that.
Yeah, no soy, nothing. What's really neat is everything is made in-house. Can we start with the bread? I always find that to be like one of the hardest to make, because if you're thinking about making gluten-free bread, well, bread is gluten, basically.
Exactly. So our breads are made of several rice flours, and we also use a garbanzo bean flour. Some people are allergic to garbanzo, but very little amounts of people are allergic to that. We also use coconut flour sometimes, but the base is made of brown rice, tapioca, and a sweet rice flour.
Well, yeah, because the coconut flour, too, has a certain flavor, so it kind of draws away from the bread, and then you really start tasting the coconut. Exactly. You guys have really gotten down to the science here. I mean, you're basically a food chemist, Rodney, because you're working on trying to make things that are basically based on wheat without their main ingredient.
Well, we perfected the baguette like nobody else. So our baguette tastes just like every other baguette on the market. It took us about 1.5 years to perfect it, but we've done an excellent job. We have customers that come in every day looking just for the baguette. So that's one of our famous items that we make, and all of our crusts are wonderful.
You know, the one thing that I know, too, is that you're a cafe, but you're also a grab-and-go. This is kind of new, so you can walk in. People who want to go to a Starbucks or a coffee shop and grab something on their way to work, they would have a really hard time doing that if they were gluten intolerant. And a lot of the kids, too, nowadays have these sensitivities. Yeah. So if, a friend brings cupcakes to school, they can't even have one. But at your bakery, they can.
Yes, exactly. We have our muffins. We have different flavors of, you'll see right here, we have scones. We have cheddar bacon scones. We have feta cheese. We also have apricot. We have an array of muffins that everyone can have there. So you can grab one of those, a cup of coffee to go, and you're set.
And then I noticed this giant cake in front of us. So that's got to be hard. If you're gluten-free and you're a bride, I cannot even imagine.
Yes, so a lot of brides come to us and they go, well, I'm gluten-free and I'd like to serve a really delicious cake for my guests. Our cake does not taste like a gluten-free cake, so the surprise on their face once they come for a tasting is fantastic. So what they normally do, they'll get the cake and then they have an option. We can also make a maple fondant for them. If they're allergic to the regular fondant, we can do that. So we have different options. We make our own buttercream. We have a signature buttercream we do as well.
See, have your cake and eat it too. Exactly. I love it. I love it. Exactly. This is really, really neat, guys. If you want more information, we're putting it up on Fox 5 San Diego, fox5sandiego.com. You click on the Scene On tab. I don't know if any of your kiddos have any gluten intolerances or sensitivities or allergies, but I feel like it's almost in like one of every kid out there. Yeah. You probably have some friends that you hang out with that someone's gluten-free or has celiac, and it is really tough to like bring something to please everyone,
Yeah, I don't have it. I thought I did for a while, but then I started reading that a lot of people became so sensitive to thinking that they had it when they really didn't. I mean, there's just so much coming out about it over the past few months. I still may, and I just don't know.
But it's good that these folks are doing that, doing their part as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
All right, Heather Lake, appreciate it. Thank you.
And happy Monday, I'm Heather Lake, live in Miramar. We're at a brand new craft brewery that's got gluten-free beer on the menu.
Heather Lake is at a new craft brewery in Miramar.
She's showing off their newest gluten-free beer.
Nice.
Beer. Hi, Heather.
Hey, yeah, good morning. It's kind of hard to imagine, right? Because one of the main ingredients in beer is gluten, basically, because it's barley and what else? Rye,
Hops, yeast, water, and malted barley are the main ingredients.
Yeah, but you guys are coming up with something really cool. So this place is called Duckfoot Brewing Company, and what you're doing is making gluten-free beer for people who either have the gluten intolerance or they have celiac disease. A lot of people can't have gluten, and then that means they can't have beer. And there's a lot of guys and probably girls out there too saying, "Oh man, that is not good." So you guys came up with a new recipe, right?
Exactly right. And what we're doing is we're basically making craft beer. We're making the best beer we can, and then we're adding a special enzyme at the end, which reduces the gluten and makes it digestible for people who are affected by these illnesses.
Yeah, and that's this one right here. So the digestive enzyme, and I've been asking you guys so many questions, in between our live shots, because I'm thinking like, man, San Diego, they know their beer here. Like people really want a good craft beer. So how do you do this? By taking out the main ingredients. So that is flavorless, and you can create the beer basically just like you would a normal craft beer, right?
It's the traditional process using all of the ingredients that would normally make people with celiac disease or gluten intolerance sick, but that enzyme is a game changer. It allows us to make beer that's going to taste like beer that people are used to and like, especially San Diego's craft beer lovers. And then that enzyme allows it to, basically breaks down that gluten protein chain, and we're all good. We're off to the races with it.
Yeah, thanks for rolling in, by the way. A duckfoot is the way, so this is what I asked you in the last segment, is duckfoot is a way that you stand on your snowboard, and that's kind of where the name came from.
Exactly, yeah. we're snowboarders, skaters, surfers. We're San Diegans.
I was going to say, sounds about right here in San Diego. One thing I want to know is you probably get people that come in here with their friends that maybe have a gluten intolerance, or you will once you open on June 6th. That's when the doors open here. They're going to say, well, can I just have a regular craft beer? But you want this to be a safe place for people who have gluten sensitivities, because you do as well.
Yeah, I'm celiac, but the biggest thing I want to get across is all these beers taste like normal craft beers. And if you don't have celiac or you're not gluten intolerant, you can still come and enjoy these beers. They're awesome, and I think they're really going to blow everybody's mind. So
yeah, and for those beer connoisseurs, we are going to do a blind taste test this morning. So or a smell. We'll do a blind smell since we're not supposed to drink on air. You know how that is. It's kind of early in the morning too. So these are some of the craft beers that they're coming up with, and they have these ingredients in them. So I'm going to try to pair them up, and I think you guys helped me out a little bit this morning. So this is coffee. Get the smell, and then we're going to see if this one lines up with that right there. Oh, it's hard. This is going to be really hard to do. So I've got to find coffee beans. Mm-hmm. Is it this one?
Mm-hmm. Got it, yeah.
Yes!
Wow.
So that's the one. What is that called? What is that called?
So this is a brown ale that we infuse with some coffee.
Okay.
So this beer is great to pair with,
bacon for breakfast?
You could do that. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm throwing it out there. It's $5 somewhere, something like that. And then cacao. So this is kind of like the chocolate. Yeah, so you do a little chocolate, and then, if I was to guess, this one right here, there's a puppy in here. I don't know if you just heard the bark. I think it's either that one. Hold on, I gotta try the dark one. I don't know. I can't tell. I would need to really taste it, and I feel like at 8 o'clock in the morning,
you can taste it.
It's a little much.
This one, this is our chocolate hazelnut porter.
Oh.
Yeah, so this is awesome dessert beer. It's super sessionable, but it goes well with a meal but especially desserts.
Well, we've got to go back to the studio for right now, but there's also coconut in one of their beers. So you're getting a lot of variety out here. Craft beers, gluten-free. They're open on June 6th, so they're working on some recipes before they open on June 6th. Mark your calendars. Fox 5 tasting sesh out here at Duckfoot. It's right down the street. It's way too close to the newsroom.
Yeah, and it goes well because you can pair the beers now. You can pair them with different kinds of meals. So it's good stuff. Heather Lake, thank you, dear.
Hey, good morning. We're live in Miramar. Well, May is Celiac Disease Awareness Month, and you're probably wondering, why am I holding a beer in my hand? That's because it's gluten-free. We're helping you out in San Diego. Where to find gluten-free beer and gluten-free goodies. We're going to tell you that so much more coming up on the Fox 5 Morning News.
Well, May is Celiac Disease Awareness Month, and Heather Lake is live in Miramar with some tasty ways to go gluten-free. Heather, this is fantastic.
Hey, yeah, so Erica, I got your email this morning talking about the gluten-free beer, and it's true. On June 6th, bring out all your friends because Duckfoot Brewing, their beer and their brewery, if you take a look over there, Zach, yep, this is all going to be open on June 6th, so you can check it all out. Gluten-free beer, completely gluten-free factory, facility, everything. It's all made here, and it's completely safe. So on top of that, we've brought in one of my favorites, 2Good2B Bakery, to show off the gluten-free goodies. So not only is there breakfast and baked goods and cupcakes and all kinds of wonderful stuff, there's also lunch there. So I've got Chef Lev Jones with me this morning to talk about this. Now, you have a neat culinary background because you're not even gluten sensitive, but you're making all of these wonderful award-winning gluten-free breads.
Exactly. So 1% of the population is gluten intolerant. So I had to figure out how I can take normal everyday food and make it just as delicious for those people who can't digest it. Because celiac disease affects your lower intestine, and it's hard. It's hard for them to digest the food. So basically, to get great flavor and make it great for everybody works.
Yeah, because what if you have one person who's gluten intolerant in your family, and then everyone kind of has to go that route and have the gluten sensitive food as well? And you want to make it good for the whole family, right?
Exactly, and then you come to 2Good2B and you have breakfast, lunch, or dinner. So.
Something else that you're doing too, I mean, if you are sensitive to a lot of things, on your sign I noticed it says like soy-free, corn-free. Anyone who has an allergy basically can come and check out the food and make sure that their sensitivities are basically met, right?
Exactly. Well, basically we try to avoid all allergens. No GMOs, no peanuts, and our flour is made of rice flours. And we use a garbanzo flour as well.
When you say that and you say, well, basically no allergies, you're like, well, what's in the food, right? So can you kind of explain, you have right here in front of us one of your lunch menus, item that's on your menu, and this is a chicken pot pie, or is it a pot pie?
Yes, a chicken pot pie, and it's made with a pot sucré, which is a sweet crust, and it's our signature crust. It's a favorite, so we call it our signature dish. We may sell 75 in a week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it does really, really well. So it comes with two sides. You can have a salad, you can also have terra chips, or you can have potatoes or vegetables, anything like that. And we also make the quiche with the same crust.
Yeah, I was going to say there's something about your crust too, because normally if people make, and I've tried a couple of gluten-free recipes and messed them up so many times with a certain either coconut flour or something, and it tastes like coconut. So exactly. You guys are kind of food chemists, if you will. What are you using that makes everything taste like normal food?
Well, we use a mixture of flours. So we use a brown rice flour, a tapioca flour. We also use a sweet rice flour as well in the pot sucré. In the breads, we use the garbanzo flour.
Ah,
yes.
So, and one thing too, I know a lot of people ask this online and they say, can I make sure that if I come to the bakery that nothing is made there? I mean, even when you get to baking powders and baking sodas and all of this, there can be allergies in that, but you guys are making everything from scratch, even the ingredients.
Exactly. So we make our own baking powder, we make our own jelly, we make our own dressings, we make our own mayo. Everything is made in-house.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, how did you get into this?
Well, basically, I'm a New Yorker. I was a chef in New York. I did really well as a catering chef, and I wanted a change of venue, if you will. So I came to California because it's really wonderful here, and I decided, you know what, this is where I'm going to be. And I met Diana Benedek, and she asked me, Rodney, could you come along and help me make this food delicious for everyone?
Yeah, what a challenge. Was this really hard to do?
It was hard in the beginning because it was in my head that it wasn't going to be able to happen. And then what I did was I said, let's take the basics and make them fantastic. So I took the basics and I used what I had, and it came out really great.
Yeah, you have things like jalapeno cheddar bread. I was actually trying some of this. It's your raisin bread, which is sort of breakfasty. And what's really neat, so people who want to go to the office and they want to just stop by and grab a pastry or a cookie or a donut or something like that, they can do that now at your place. It's based in Encinitas, and basically you can stop by, you can grab a coffee and a pastry or a donut or something, a scone to go.
Exactly. The wonderful thing about the cinnamon raisin bread is we cure the raisins in our orange juice. So we have...
Oh, that's why it was so sweet.
Yes.
I was like, this is really good and kind of tastes like dessert.
Yeah, so on our properties, we have orange trees. So we actually use fresh squeezed oranges, and we cure the raisins.
Yeah. What a good choice to come to San Diego. Welcome. Erica, you've got a couple treats up there to give a try because I want viewers to know I'm not the only one. I know people are like, oh, Heather, you're healthy. Of course you would like this kind of stuff. But no, I promise, like, it is very good. And I wanted to bring it to the studio so people could try it and kind of give their honest opinions of what they thought about the different baked goods and stuff. Did you get to try any yet?
Let me tell you something, Heather. When I walked in, I haven't told you this yet, but I'm actually trying to cut down on my gluten intake because I eat so much of it. And I saw this, and my first thought was, another thing I can't have. That's great. And then they said, no, it's gluten-free, and I can't even believe it. I'm like, it's like Christmas right now. I'm so excited, Heather. I did have a little bit of the frosting.
Gluten-free bread. Who knew?
Yeah, it's really
it's just a little bit of everything.
Yeah, you have a smorgasbord for sure. It looks awesome, and this is opening up a lot of doors for a lot of folks because you just think about what you can't have, but you're showing folks what they can have, and I love it. I might just keep this whole thing to myself.
Have it all.
Yeah. All right, Heather, thank you.
Awesome.